Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? We're going to be talking about today is something that I find very hanky. Um, Top officials are moving on to military bases due to their safety. And I was just like, okay, what what the heck is going on? Okay, this just doesn't, excuse me, fell on the floor. Something just doesn't seem right? My granddaughter's blanket. um, why all of a sudden? What the heck is really going on here? So we've got Stephen Miller, okay, Kristi Noem, Marco Rubio, and Pete Hegseth already have relocated to secure on-base housing at Washington area military sites like Fort McNair and Joint Base Anacostia Bolin. And why? Political violence and targeted threats against administration figures. So this makes sense as military operations unfold. Okay, we've got our president via the Pentagon has ordered the National Guard to create quick reaction forces in every state and territory by January. And military bases offer like robust military protection, turning them into de facto safe havens during domestic unrest. All right. So the recent reporting on heightened security measures within this administration amid escalating political tensions in the U.S. This includes senior officials relocating to military housing for protection and a Pentagon directive to bolster National Guard readiness for potential domestic unrest. Now, these developments, reported widely, stem from a combination of doxing incidents, targeted threats, and broader concerns over political violence, exacerbated by events like Charlie Kirk's life being taken earlier this year. Then you have several high-profile figures in the administration that have indeed moved, okay? And this isn't entirely unprecedented because you have also like past officials like Defense Secretary Robert Gates who use similar arrangements. But the scale here, which is at least 6 senior appointees, has raised eyebrows about blurring civilian military boundaries and straining limited housing resources originally meant for generals and admirals. So I'm going to show you something, okay? And this, like I said, you've got Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, and Stephen Miller. Now, Kristi Noem is the only one who went to Joint Base Anacostia Bolin, okay, which is the Coast Guard one. The rest of them are at Fort McNair. So Kristi, she moved earlier in 2025 after the Daily Mail published her DC apartment address. That's not journalism, Daily Mail. Okay, that's called doxing. And that's just wrong on a lot of different levels. I mean, this is my husband's boss that we're talking about, okay? And I just don't understand why the Daily Mail would do something like that. That's dangerous. Okay? You just don't do shit like that. You really don't. So then you have other mentions that Tulsi Gabbard inquired about McNair, but couldn't due to space. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll at Joint Base Meyer-Henderson Hall. And these bases, they provide inherent security, gate perimeters, armed patrols, that reduces the need for separate protective details, potentially saving taxpayer money on staging areas. However, critics are noting the issues like outdated facilities and the optics of displacing military leaders. The primary driver here is a spike in targeted harassment against officials, like the doxing, like the threats. And when you take into consideration Charlie Kirk's incident, okay, and then you also have, because that fueled fears of escalating violence against conservatives. And then you have the ongoing unrest over immigration enforcement, crime policies, our president's agenda, which has led to demonstrations in cities like DC, LA, and Chicago. Officials report swatting incidents, vandalism, online campaigns. From a security standpoint, this makes tactical sense where bases are fortified and logistically efficient, but it also signals deep unease, with some outlets dubbing it a Trump green zone. But tying it into a security theme, President Trump signed an August 25th, 2025 executive order directing the Pentagon to create a standing National Guard units for quelling civil disturbances and ensuring public safety or something like that. And then on October 8th, Major General Ronald Burkett from the National Guard Bureau issued a memo mandating 500 troops per state, adjusted for smaller ones, like 250 in Delaware. Training focused like on riot control, batons, shields, tasers, pepper spray, squad formations, de-escalation, and supervision of crowd operations. States get 100 equipment sets each. This is going to be operational by January 1st, 2026. Monthly progress reports are going to be required, and Pentagon trainers will deploy nationwide. A new 50-person full-time military police battalion for public order will be by 2027. And the White House spokesperson, Abigail Jackson, has framed this as a lawful response for violent riots in cities like DC and Memphis, where guard deployments reportedly cut down crime. And our president has deployed guard units to Democratic-led cities like LA for the immigration protests, despite what Newsom and his opposition, emphasizing making America safe again. And then you have veterans and advocates like Janessa Goldback from Vet Voice Foundation. She says that this is like a warning because it normalizes a national militarized police force, potentially bypassing governors to suppress protests or elections in blue states. Saying it evokes historical uses like Kent State in 1970, and legal challenges are mounting, like Supreme Court briefs against Illinois deployments. Now, these steps reflect, and administration bracing for volatility, possibly tied to policy rollouts like mass deportations or election retentions. But they also fueled debates over militarization. The White House insists that it's all about safety and results. Opponents see authoritarian overreach. With midterms looming and protests ongoing, the next several months are going to be extremely intense. So, buckle up, arm up, head on a swivel, know what the hell's going on around you. Because by January 1st, I don't even want to know what the hell we're going to be seeing in the streets. This is going to be a whole new normal. Yeah. All right, guys. I will see you in the next one. Okay, you stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fear less and God bless.